Welcome back. Today we're doing a topic that is equal parts hilarious, confusing, and honestly kind of tender. Teen hypochondria, or as some parents call it, the mystery illness that appears 5 minutes before school. Yes, the ancient and sacred condition known as, I can't go because my stomach hurts. Exactly, but we're not here just to roast teenagers. We're going to talk about what's actually going on, why it happens, how adults can respond without turning every conversation into a courtroom trial. And yes, we will share some extremely creative excuses teens use to escape school, homework, events, and social situations. Important note, we're going to joke a bit because humor helps, but we're also going to be responsible humans. If a teen is having concerning symptoms, self-harm thoughts, severe anxiety, panic attacks, trouble breathing, chest pain, or anything that feels urgent, get real medical help. Do not let a podcast be your triage nurse. Also, language matters. Some people call it hypochondria, some call it health anxiety, and professionals might talk about anxiety disorders or somatic symptoms. We're using the casual term because that's how people talk, but the experience behind it can be genuinely stressful. Because it's not always faking. Sometimes it's I'm scared, but that comes out as my stomach is suspicious. I'm not a perfect parent for sure, but as a teen, well, let's just say, I wasn't the best student. Back in the day, when we had to have an excuse for being absent, my friend and I collaborated to get us out of school. She pretended to be my mother and called the office to say that I was sick. Then, I did the same thing for her, pretending to be her mother, and voila. We could spend the day as we pleased. We went to my home, colored our hair, and had a blast knowing we had fooled someone. So this is just an example of how some teens might think, especially when it comes to school. Okay, so let's paint another scene. A teen wakes up on a random Wednesday. There's math class. There's a quiz. There's a group presentation with that one kid who never does their part. Suddenly, symptoms begin. The symptoms are cinematic. I might be developing historic levels of dizziness. Or, my throat feels like it has bad vibes. Or the classic, I Google my headache, and now I'm 94% sure I have a rare disease that only happens to lighthouse keepers in the 1800s. And that's actually one of the biggest drivers. Let's start with reasons teens do this. Sometimes consciously, often not. Reason number 1, anxiety and stress. School pressure, social pressure, sports, family stuff. Teens are absorbing a lot. And stress doesn't always show up as I feel stressed. It shows up as stomach aches, headaches, nausea, fatigue, tight chest, trouble sleeping. The body is basically like, hello, I couldn't reach you via your calendar, so I'm contacting you through your digestive system. Exactly. The nervous system doesn't care that the cause is emotional. It still produces physical sensations. And when a teen feels something weird in their body, it can spiral into fear. What if something is wrong with me? Reason number 2, information overload. Teens live online. They see health content constantly. Symptom checkers, influencers talking about conditions, signs you have videos, alarming headlines. If you're anxious, your brain will collect evidence like it's building a legal case against your own health. Reason number 3, control. When life feels unpredictable, focusing on symptoms can feel like something you can track. Like, I can't control my grade, but I can control whether I'm too dizzy to take the test. And to be real, sometimes it's avoidance. If something feels scary, embarrassing, overwhelming, your brain will pull the emergency lever. One of the easiest emergency levers is I'm sick, because it's socially acceptable. Which leads to reason number 4. There might be an underlying issue. Anxiety disorder, depression, ADHD, burnout, sensory overload, panic attacks, trauma, bullying, learning difficulties. If a kid is sick every Sunday night, we should at least consider, maybe it's not the stomach, maybe it's the week ahead. And reason number 5, attention and connection. Before anyone gets judgy, yes, sometimes teens want care. Sometimes they want someone to slow down and notice them. If the only time they get calm attention is when they're not feeling well, guess what behavior their brain starts repeating? Right. So now that we've got the why, let's do the fun part. The Teen Symptom Improv Show. These are examples, not instructions. We do not endorse criminal activity. Example 1. The sudden, highly specific illness. I can't go to school. I have nausea. Or, my molars feel tight, which sounds less like a symptom and more like a new gym trend. Example 2. The dramatic medical mystery. My heart did a weird thing. Like a flip. I think it audibly flipped. The teen has now become a Victorian novel protagonist. Example 3. The mental health card. Sometimes real, sometimes weaponized. I'm having a panic attack. Adults hear that and freeze, because we should take it seriously, but sometimes it's used as a get-out-of-anything pass. And here's the tricky part. Sometimes it's both. The teen might feel something real, tight chest, racing thoughts, and also realize, this gets me out of the presentation. Two truths can exist at once. Example 4. The contagious outbreak announcement. I think I have what's going around. What's going around? A vibe. A rumor. A single kid sneezed 3 days ago. Example 5. The pre-event illness. A family gathering is coming. A sports tournament. A birthday party with people they don't want to see. Suddenly, migraine, nausea. I can't find my appetite. My skin feels wrong. Or the classic. My social battery is medically depleted. And example 6. The homework emergency. It's 9:47 p.m. The assignment is due at midnight. I'm not avoiding it. I physically cannot read. The words are moving. That one is honestly relatable. But if it's every night, we've got a pattern. So, how do you deal with this as a parent, guardian, teacher, coach, or supportive adult, without being either a cold skeptic or a full-time medical concierge? The goal is to take the teen seriously, without feeding the anxiety monster. Validate the feeling, not the catastrophic interpretation. Instead of "you're fine," stop it. Try. That sounds uncomfortable. Let's figure out what you need right now. Because when you dismiss, you accidentally increase panic. The teen thinks, no one gets it. It must be serious. Get curious and specific. Ask grounded questions. When did it start? What does it feel like? Where is it? What makes it better or worse? Are you able to eat? Are you dizzy when you stand? And also, what's happening today? Not in an accusatory way. Just, is there something at school you're worried about? Because half the time the symptom is a smoke signal. Create a simple, boring protocol. Health anxiety feeds on drama and unpredictability. A protocol is calm. For example, if it's mild symptoms, you do the basics: water, food, rest, maybe a thermometer, maybe a short break. If it's severe symptoms, fever, vomiting, fainting, breathing issues, you escalate. Everything else gets a consistent response. Consistency is magic, because if every complaint triggers a huge emotional scene, or a day off, or a special treat, the brain learns. Symptom equals reward. Don't negotiate in the moment of panic. If a teen is spiraling, I'm dying, that's not the time to debate. Help them regulate first. Slow breathing, grounding, a calm voice, a glass of water. Then later, you debrief. Later is where you teach. In the moment is where you soothe. Teach the difference between discomfort and danger. A lot of teens have never been taught that anxiety can mimic illness. You can say, your body's alarm system sometimes goes off when there's no fire. The alarm is loud, but it doesn't always mean emergency. Reduce Dr. Google, not with a speech, with structure. Suggest a rule like, if you're worried, you tell me first, then we decide together if we look it up or if we write it down for the doctor. Because symptom searching at 1 a.m. is basically an anxiety accelerator. Address the underlying stressor. If the pattern is always before math, maybe math is the problem. If it's always before social stuff, maybe there's social anxiety, bullying, or sensory overload. And if it's always at night before a big assignment, maybe the teen needs help with planning, executive function, or fear of failure. Not just a lecture about responsibility. Let's talk about the delicate question. Are they faking? Some are. Sometimes it's strategic. But even then, it's useful to ask. Strategic for what? Avoidance and protection are usually the goal. The solution isn't catch them. It's teach them a better way to cope. And sometimes they genuinely feel symptoms. Anxiety can cause nausea, headaches, muscle pain, chest tightness, tingling, chills, sweat, fatigue. Not imagined, not chosen. Here's a helpful mindset. Treat symptoms as real. Treat conclusions as flexible. I believe you feel bad. I'm not sure it means you have a terrible disease. Scenario. I'm having a panic attack. I can't present. First, help them regulate. Breathe with me. In for 4, out for 6. Grounding. Name 5 things you see. For things you can touch. Then, let's talk options. Options might be present to the teacher alone, present last, use note cards, do it seated, or split the presentation. The key is some support, not total escape every time. Scenario, I have a headache. I can't do homework. Try. Okay, we'll do a 10-minute reset. Water, snack, dim lights. Then we'll do just the first problem together. Because starting is often the hardest part. And if the headache is real, small steps still respect it. Now, for teachers and coaches listening, what can you do without becoming the school nurse and the therapist and the parent all at once? You can be consistent and kind. Keep a simple process. If a student reports a symptom, you follow the same steps each time. Send them to the nurse if needed, document patterns, communicate with caregivers when it becomes frequent. And you can give students face-saving alternatives. Teens will cling to symptoms when the alternative is embarrassment. If you offer flexibility, like presenting to a smaller group, you can reduce the need for emergency illness. Also, normalize that stress affects bodies. You'd be surprised how helpful it is for a teen to hear a respected adult say, I get stress headaches too. Let's end with a message for adults that I wish every teen could hear. You don't have to pick between compassion and boundaries. You can be warm and firm at the same time. You can say, I believe you feel bad. And also, we're still going to school unless we see clear signs you're truly ill. And when you do that consistently, you're teaching something bigger than attendance. You're teaching resilience. You're teaching, my body can feel uncomfortable and I can still handle my day. Because that's the long-term goal. Not to catch them in a lie. Not to win an argument. To help them grow into someone who can ride out stress without needing a new medical mystery every week. If you know a parent, teacher, coach, older sibling, or teen who would laugh and also feel seen by this episode, share it with them. And if you're the teen with the nausea, listen, hydrate, take a breath, and maybe, just maybe, it's algebra anxiety wearing a fake mustache. This is Ruth Kongaika, your host of Parenting with Love, Light, and Laughter.